Hey, everybody, and welcome back. It's been a couple weeks, but we are back. We are back to a fantastic episode of Hops Geek News. I am one of your two hosts, Matt. Alongside me, cracking a beer in the background, is Lauren, and we're just hoping for the best on this wonderful 420 day when we are recording. Last week, I apologize. We had actually recorded a pretty dope Lego episode. However, it didn't actually record. So we're just going to put that one in the bank, and we'll probably re-record it at some point because Legos are life and Legos are love. So with that said, as always, go to hopsnews.beer. That's where you're going to find our podcasts. You're going to be able to find our merch. Go ahead and find all the links to all of our episodes. Go to Hops Geek News on Twitter and Instagram and TikTok. That's where you can follow along on all of our great escapades. And this is my final week here in San Antonio. Thank God, because that means I get to go home to good internet. And that means Lauren and I get to look each other in the face for a change and actually record an episode like human beings rather than hearing our voices only, which is weird to me. And on today's episode, I am drinking from Weathered Souls here in San Antonio, Texas. Their West Coast style IPA. It comes in at 7% ABV. It is a product of Texas. Citrusy, refreshing, and crisp. I've had the chance to go to this brewery a couple times now. And honestly, guys, if you are ever in San Antonio, this is like the brewery to hit up. It is amazing. It is wicked good. I've got some goods to take home with me, and I'm really hoping I get to go there one more time before I actually leave here. So with that said, Lauren, what are you drinking? Thanks for putting up with all the nonsense that I've put us through the last month.
Hey, we expected you weren't going to be able to record at all, so it's all
true.
Good. I'm drinking a beer from Sideward Brewing. It's a double IPA called Witch Hammer, and it's got a witch on it and looks like she's holding a book that could look like the Darkhold, maybe. So I kind of thought it was an appropriate beer for this episode, since we're doing America Chavez, who is in the upcoming Doctor Strange movie, which Scarlet Witch will be in as well. And Sideward actually mentioned it was 420. They actually dropped their 420 beer today and a couple other beers. But the 420 beers are hit or miss, man. Sometimes they're really good, and it's like that dank, and sometimes they're just like not.
They just release
So I think it's hard to find that middle ground of like the correct amount of quote unquote dankness.
I honestly don't even touch them just because I don't want to randomly get drug tested and it be the one 420 beer that actually has stuff in it. And the next thing you know, I'm getting kicked out. So I don't drink any of them. I probably won't for at least another 10 years. So I'm just going to live vicariously through you guys. And if they're good, hey, I'll take your word for it.
Well, if they're actually weed beers, they'll tell you. Usually it's just the
That's
right
fair.
amount of hops to give it a dank flavor. My favorite, though, is really Sweetwater 420, but the G13 strain, because you pop it open and it smells like somebody smoking weed.
Yeah, that's right. It's so dank, bro.
Definitely doesn't have weed in it. I mean, they ship that across state lines. They're not doing weed in that.
That's true. Listen, kids, don't even do marijuanas one time. One marijuanas leads to a lifetime of suffering and homelessness. Remember that. And this has been your PSA.
Drug.
It's a gateway. Trust me. You don't want no part of this shit, man. It's the cheapest drug there is. It's non-habitual. And if you've not seen that movie.
Cigarettes.
So I've actually been exploring a lot of breweries around here that you might have seen on Hops News on our Instagram there. And I went to one this past weekend called Alamo Beer. And I got to say, it's pretty cool. However, what I did not find to be cool was the fact that they were doing a gender reveal party there. Like, okay, that's fine. You want to do it at a brewery? Cool, whatever. So this family, they brought out two people that were dressed in those blow up outfits. One was in a boy outfit, one was in a girl outfit. And I mean, cool, whatever. They fought, the girl won, great. However, this family then proceeded to dump balloons and litter these balloons all over the place. And I wanted to put them on the train tracks, tie them to it, and watch the train just run them over until there's nothing left. Because, like, dude, how are you going to just pollute like that? Like, what the hell? You come out.
The worst part is they're reproducing.
Yeah, and now they're reproducing and they're teaching their kids the same. And there's a bunch of people there. It's like, come on, this is stupid. But the brewery itself, though, was wicked nice. I mean, the vibe there was cool. They have cornhole. They've got a giant turf little football field that's underneath a bridge. That's pretty sweet. They got live music.
Do they have a basement?
God damn it. We're not doing this again.
No Pee-wee jokes? Okay.
No. But no, it was great. Their food there was really good. I had these brisket nachos that had queso on it. And oh man, so good.
Ooh.
I've been to Kunstler Brewing the other day. That was a German style brewery that had really good German chocolate cake. Funny enough, because my friend got that and I had some, of course. But
did they have a German chocolate cake beer?
No, unfortunately, it didn't. However, they did have really good beers. I actually tried every single beer they have. So I had 2 flights and a pour, and then my friend let me try a couple of his beers. They actually did this one. It was like honey oats. That was really, really good. I drank a couple of hazies, like the Hazelboro I Am, and then their blackberry sour, I will say, tasted like a lot of really good berries. So they did beer very well there. If you get a chance, go to Kunstler Brewing, and I'm hoping to hit up at least 2 more breweries out here, if not 1 at least. Trying to I want to go to Back Unturned is one that I want to hit up, and then I want to hit up, I don't know what other ones, at least Weathered Souls again one more time, just because that's the best. So that's been my adventures here. Beer adventures. Yay.
Woohoo. What have my adventures? Well, I don't even know what my adventures have been because we recorded last week, but then we didn't. But I got to go to a brewery in the Bahamas and Deadwoods. The next time. So if you have heard about Orlando beer, there's one brewery you probably haven't heard of because it's really new that you will hear about is Deadwoods. Deadwoods is awesome. So I recommend anybody who come here go to Deadwoods. They have a lot of old school beers. You were just talking about fun breweries, so I wanted to talk about fun breweries.
Talk about fun breweries for a second because we haven't had an episode in a couple weeks. So it's like, and I've also just been hung up with class. So we haven't really connected and just, shot the breeze. So you're all going to listen to us talk about good breweries. And if you want, I'll skip it and put, this is where you can go to listen to our main topic in our description. So yeah, go ahead. Talk about Deadwood. So is that the newer one?
Yeah, Deadwoods opened, not that long ago, just a few months ago. But it's one of those, like, every time one of us goes, like, of my friends, they're all like, yep, that's my new favorite one. Oh, wow. And they just, like, I had a Maybach and it was just so good. And they're the ones that have, I know I've mentioned them a few times, they have that clay fermenter pot.
Oh, yeah.
And they do such good old school styles, but also do like new school styles. And they have not homemade pizza, but they have, pizza that they make there in their big fancy pizza oven. And it's such a pretty brewery, but it's right by like the soccer stadium. Nice. So it's not in like the best part of town, but it's really close to Broken Strings Brewery, which is another good one. I'm trying to think. I know I've sent you some of their beers.
Yeah, you've sent me some of theirs.
Crazy beers.
And anytime you talk about Sideward, only because I've had their...
And you've been there.
Yeah, well, I've been to Sideward. So anytime you talk about them, for some reason, all I think of is just their amazing stouts. And then you talk about like, so you'll be like, I drank Sideward. And I'm like, oh, what stout was it? And then you're like, that had an IPA. And I was like, wait, they do that there? Just because for some reason.
Really good IPAs.
Yeah. In my mind, I'm always like, yo, they make some amazing stouts. And that's what I usually have from them. And so I always forget they make other stuff. My bad.
They were the first brewery that came to Orlando that I was like, oh my gosh, Orlando has good like hazy IPAs now. And that was the Yacht Money. This Witch Hammer, though, this is one I haven't had from them before until like last week. So I had to get that. But they just released their Audit in Progress, which is, I think they call it a double IPA, but it's like 10%. So I think that's a triple IPA.
Yeah, I think at that point it's a triple, but I don't make the rules.
It's very yummy. Very yummy. I should go get that one.
You should.
But we can move it on to because we have to go over some of the stuff we recorded that hopefully records this time.
Yeah. So, well, first things first. What are some things that we messed up on the episode prior, which feels like forever ago, but people don't forget.
So there was a part where I said Emma Watson and I meant Emma Stone. So if you listen to that episode, you're probably thinking like, that doesn't sound like it's from Emma Watson.
They've been stewing on it for 2 weeks.
So I meant Gwen Stacy. I didn't mean Hermione. There was a scene where Joker blows up the hospital that we had talked about in our Dark Knight trilogy episode. The explosion is a bit late, and then you see Joker jump. So all of that was actually intentional and not a happy accident because we had talked about that it might be. So there is an interview with Christopher Nolan where he's confirming this. They blew up a Brock candy building, and that was BRACH, and it was scheduled for demolition. So the WB bought it and blew it up. The explosion was real, because they could only shoot it once, and they had to make sure that their actor was far away from the explosion, but he still needed to look like he gave no fucks as he was walking away. And the shit was still supposed to be exploding, so it was kind of a way to buy them a little more time to have him be safely out of there. Because they said they couldn't, because, some people say like, oh, they intentionally waited so they could get a genuine reaction. It's like, if they intentionally waited and then Heath Ledger broke character and then the building exploded, like that would be a really expensive, let's hope
then
this
that
happens.
Shot's done. Let's go find another building to blow up. They're going to let us do it this time, I promise.
Yeah, so that was a bit too risky to risk. And that was my what did we fuck up on or we'll look into.
Well, look, people make mistakes. It's fine. And that's one of those things, that's one of those urban legends that's been around for a while, was like, oh yeah, the Joker, it was not planned at all. But like, I don't know about you. If there's an explosion right behind me, I'm not acting that chill. So
yeah, unless you're a Batman villain.
Yeah, that's true. So what have you been reading or watching this week? Is there anything, or last 2 weeks, I should say, is there anything in particular, such as a certain show that has to do with a certain Egyptian god that you've been watching?
Ooh, that's funny that you ask. I actually have been watching a show about an Egyptian god. Finished up some Star Wars stuff, which we'll talk about soon. So Moon Knight was amazing this morning. And I knew you just have to wait with these Disney Plus shows. I feel like they pay off. Sometimes you just have to have patience. Yeah.
So spoilers in 3, 2, 1. Yeah, I think that you're right. So you're right. Too often we want to just be like, hey, give us action for every single episode. We've only got 6 of them, but when you break it down, it's like we have 6 hours, which is more than a movie, and movies start off the same way. Like we got to build up to the payoff. And, this episode, I watched it, just a little bit ago, it was solid. And then the last 10 minutes just got really freaking weird, man. Really weird.
Yeah,
is he in purgatory? Is he in a hospital? Like, what is going on? And then you're not going to tell me that sarcophagus that they just ignore, that was Jake Lockley. Like, we're just going to keep putting off the third, person that's inside his brain. Like,
they know.
Well, I mean, at this point, it's like an open secret, right? We know it's in there. They know it's in there.
Yeah.
Just open the damn thing already.
They don't want to, because that's the guy that killed everybody. When they're like, what did you do? I didn't do it, I swear.
That's fair. But at this point, I mean, it's just so like, it's so trippy, and Ethan Hawke continues to do such a great job, man. I'm impressed. Him and Oscar Isaac have just been killing it in their respective roles. Like, I get it. You're not getting Moon Knight beating down bad guys every 5 seconds, but the psychology, the acting, the camera work that's been going on in this show has been probably the best that we have gotten in a Marvel television show so far. Like the acting, Oscar Isaac, the way he just switches between characters, it's seamless. It's insane.
Yeah.
That's all you got from me? Just a yeah? I give you this great big monologue and all you got from me is yeah? This is like when you saw the Batman and you're like, yeah, that was okay.
No. The Moon Knight I very much so enjoyed more than the Batman. No, I feel like we're still digesting it all, and it's kind of like WandaVision. Week to week, it's we can make our predictions, but the fact of the matter is we have no idea what's going on.
Oh my God, was the hippo god? Was that Mephisto?
Yeah. I was about to answer your question, and then you said Mephisto, and I was like, oh, he's fucking with me. I looked at it because, my daughter, I watch it with my oldest, and she's big into anything Rick Riordan writes about. So basically mythology. First it was Greek and Roman, and, she's telling me about the Egyptian ones now. And I looked it up, and the first thing, there's a raccoon in my backyard.
Ooh.
The first thing that she had mentioned, or I had saw, was that this hippo god is like a fertility god for Egyptian. And she's like, be mindful anytime they call a god or a goddess mainly that it's a fertility one, or it's for childbearing, or this or that. A lot of times when archaeologists or just historians would find gods, so to speak, and they didn't know what they were and they were female, they would just like label them as like a default, like, oh, they must be fertility gods.
Huh. Interesting. Like, when in doubt, bang it out.
There you go. When in doubt, it must be about birth and fertility, because that's all that really matters. But yeah, and then the other things that I did watch The Boys documentary, and I know you heard me talk about this, but it was really good and not about the boys, but it's about the Sherman brothers who write all the Disney songs, and they've written everything from It's a Small World to Feed the Birds to Tiki 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 Room. So many different things that you've heard in movies. They've done songs for, I can't even remember now because it's been 2 weeks since I watched it. But they don't like each other, and they're brothers, and they write all these hits together. And it's a documentary on Disney+.
Wow, they don't like each other?
No, and it's actually really sad, but there's a whole story behind it. There's some World War II trauma and all sorts of stuff. And you see them in the movie Saving Mr. Banks because they worked on all the Mary Poppins movies, or one Mary Poppins movie. But it was good. And I also started the Boys cartoon. So I randomly watched two things called
Diabolical?
The Boys that were very, very different. Yeah, so it's shorts. And it seems like it's more, I haven't finished it, but it seems like it's more supplementing the comic book rather than the show. Because Jack from Jupiter's in it, which unless I've missed something in the show, he's not in the show. He's one of the 7 in the comic. I don't even know if he's
don't think he's in it at all or mentioned. I don't recall. If anybody out there who happens to be listening, if you've caught him seen, mentioned or anything, I don't think he is.
Yeah. I don't think he has either, but I never want to be certain. And I'm going to do a rewatch before June. But there's all sorts of different weird shorts. Awkwafina wrote one of them and voiced one of them. It's all sorts of different voice actors. Homelander's not voicing himself, but then like The Deep is voicing himself. So it's interesting. I mean, they're really short, so I guess it's worth watching. But like one of my friends who isn't like super into stuff, no pun intended, but is currently rewatching The Boys, this is Erica. She asked if she should watch the cartoon, and I'm like, no, probably not. But if you're into those things and you've read the comics, it's definitely worth checking out.
Interesting. I haven't even bothered. I forgot all about it. I forgot it existed, to be honest with you. But The Boys, a month and a half until the next season of The Boys comes out. So I'm pretty excited for that nonetheless.
Can't wait until Jensen Ackles is Soldier Boy.
That's right. That is right. How could I forget?
So I finally finished my whole Star Wars rewatch. And then I was like, oh yeah, Diabolical. So
that's Diabolical, mate.
Which is funny because my husband's like, how are you still watching Star Wars stuff? How is there this much Star Wars?
You know what? Tell him to mind his business. That's how.
I did start Highlander last night, but I haven't finished it.
There can be only one, unlike Star Wars.
Seen it. I made the comment of after that new Thor trailer, I feel like I need to watch Highlander because it says on the movie poster, like there's only one Thor or something. And my husband's like, we can put it on right now. It's one of his favorite movies. But if that movie came out today, I feel like he would not like it because he's not into that kind of stuff today. Right. But as a kid, he freaking loved it.
Yeah. Well, I can't remember the last time that I've actually watched Highlander. I've seen it as a kid. Yeah, I'll tell you what I've been watching. I have been watching Star Wars, of course, because we're getting ready. Our next episode after this is going to be kicking off into Star Wars month. Moon Knight, of course, Scooby-Doo, Batman, but The Batman has come out on HBO Max. And to be honest, I've watched it 2 more times since it's come out this week already. So I've watched that stuff. And I've been watching.
You can't see me, but I'm shaking my head.
It's a good movie. That's why. I know Jeff doesn't feel the same, but you know what? That's okay. You guys can go sit in your corner and think about life. All right. And I've been watching the Halo series, which to be honest with you, I'm pretty disappointed in. It's
based on the game.
Yeah, so it's obviously based on the game. However, they didn't even play the game before making this show. And you get like 5 minutes of action in episode 1. And since that, it's been nothing but dialogue. And Master Chief doesn't have his helmet on like at any point, which is the mortal sin of Halo. And it's just dragging, it's just dragging. Nothing's happening. You don't see the Covenant. You don't see anybody. Nothing's happening. It's kind of a chore to get through. So I wait for a couple episodes to come out at a time and then I will watch them. But yeah, just nothing's happening, man. I don't get it. It's not very good.
It's time to give it up. I made a decision the other day randomly that I am done watching Titans. When it comes back, I will not be watching it.
I say that, but
some things you got to be like Elsa and let them go. I was talking to my brother-in-law about shows, and he's like, "Yep, not doing Titans anymore." And I'm like, "Why am I still watching it?"
I don't know. I actually didn't even finish Titans the season last season, so I'm talking a big game. I don't know.
This raccoon's having a grand old time in my backyard.
Hey, you know what?
What
that reminds me of the game from PlayStation 1. Ah, damn it. I can't remember. Sly Fox. Yeah, that's what that reminds me of. It's a really old game if anybody has ever played that. But let's move on to some news. We got some news for you. So to recap what I talked about last week, Spotify's Batman Unburied audio is going to be releasing on May 3rd. And Bill Skarsgård has been cast as the Crow, which allegedly starts filming in June. I feel like that's something that's been in developmental hell for God knows how long at this point. We got a Stranger Things trailer. So part 1 of season 4, because that's the cool thing to do now, is break up seasons into part 1s and 2s and 6s and 3s. That is going to be releasing on May 27th, same day as Obi-Wan Kenobi.
Kenobi.
We're going to get 2 episodes of Obi-Wan Kenobi. This July, Norman Osborn returns and Spider-Man debuts in a new suit. So The Amazing Spider-Man has a new comic book coming out, and the cover so far, you have Norman Osborn holding a Spider-Man helmet, and then you have Spider-Man flying on a, Green Goblin inspired thing, and then he's also in an outfit Oscorp Spider-Man suit. So interesting. I'm wondering what's going on there. I'm a little intrigued by that, I gotta say. Other than that, man, I feel like I had sent you a ton of news. I had seen a ton of news today, but at this moment, let me see, what else do I have here? Well, I have the best news. The best news ever. You ready?
I'm ready.
Fast and Furious 10. They've debuted the name. It's called Fast X.
Family. So I was at Universal last week, and I know we were texting you while we were, because we were in the line for the ride or whatever. So basically, I went with 3 of my friends, and the Fast and the Furious line wasn't too bad, but it was like 45 minutes, but we didn't have any kids with us. And so Jessica's husband, Adam, was like, here's what we do. We get a beer and then we play a drinking game in line. Anytime you're in the line and you hear family or party, you take a sip. Well, we went to Diagon Alley first and got Dragon Stouts. So we're all drinking stouts. And it is like 85 degrees out and we're drinking stouts and the line's inside, but it's still not that warm. And they say party and family so much. Like Erica's like, oh my God, I feel like shit now because I just chugged this stout.
Oh my God.
And then and you can't bring it on the ride. But she was done way before I was. I was busy videoing because I was like, I'm going to make a TikTok about a drinking game. I haven't made it yet, but I do have some fun footage. And then Jessica's like, what text chain is Matt in? I'm going to text him family. And that's why I sent you 2 texts that say family because she couldn't find the text. So she's like, just text in that text chain family and I'll send him the picture.
Come on, okay. Jess, how quickly you forget. How many text chains? Jeez.
Yeah. And now you have a ridiculous, stupid family keychain coming your way because they're like, you have to buy him the keychain that says family. I am so excited.
You have no idea. That's going right on the keys. That's going with me everywhere I go.
Oh, man.
I cannot wait for this. I do actually have some news though. I remember I found all my news. We're good. We're good, everybody.
Thank goodness.
Netflix has reassured investors that subscriptions will not continue to drop after losing 200,000 subscribers recently. I mean, to be honest,
stop raising those prices.
Well, I mean, what are we watching Netflix for anyways? Like, you get one good movie a year and that's about all you get from Netflix. So what's the appeal? No.
And they have the Supernatural reruns, but one thing a lot of people complain about is I want to buy season 1 because none of the music is the same on Netflix as it is on the DVD. And it's because, I think we've even gone over this when we had our Supernatural episode, they didn't think to get the rights for streaming services in 2005. And apparently all the music in the original show was amazing.
Oh, wow.
And the one on Netflix is not as good. So I need to buy the damn DVDs.
Oh, real quick, I've been watching a show called Winning Time on HBO Max. It's about the rise of the Lakers dynasty, if there's any basketball fans out there like me.
Oh, I need to watch that.
Yeah, it's actually really good.
You made me excited and I choked on my beer.
It's actually really good. I highly, highly recommend catching that. It's been a really good show. I'm on like episode 4. It's got John C. Reilly, who I will watch anything that dude is in. He's amazing. Adrian Brody's in it. What's his name? Jason Segel's in it, and it's a good show. So watch that. And back to news. Zack Snyder.
Watch a Heat game.
Ooh, Heat game.
Yay.
What's that?
The Heat game. They won.
The Heat game. Yeah. Well, Celtics are actually playing right now, I think. So Zack Snyder has begun filming for his sci-fi fantasy movie called Rebel Moon, which has Djimon Hounsou. I think I pronounced that right. That's begun filming. There was a little trailer that dropped this week, a little teaser trailer that did you catch this little teaser trailer that 209 million people watched in the first 24 hours?
Yeah, I think I only watched it like 5 times and then watched a 20-minute video going over everything that was in it. If it's the one I think you're talking about.
Oh, little Thor Love and Thunder dropped a teaser trailer. And would you believe that people were complaining about it?
What?
They were saying that it showed them nothing.
It was a teaser trailer.
Not to mention, if it showed anything, people would be complaining that it showed too much.
I feel like it showed a ton, honestly. I mean, we got a lot.
We got Jacked Jane.
Right?
Holding the hammer.
Did you see what his hat says?
What's his hat say?
Strongest Avenger.
Oh, I didn't see that, but we're getting a montage of him working out.
Oh my gosh, I'm so excited for the 80s music montage of him getting into
amazing.
shape. It's going to be awesome. It's going to be tubular. It's going to be fantastic.
Have you seen the memes?
He looks like Forrest Gump.
Yeah, no. That's what I was going to say. Have you seen the memes where he looks like Forrest Gump?
And I haven't.
Oh, there's that. And then there's also like the scene where he's in Peter Quill's line of sight. And he just keeps looking.
Yes.
There's like a bunch of memes from that too. And then they actually just released a new poster, which has very own jacked Natalie Portman holding Thor's hammer to the sky on it. And it says, "The one is not the only." And July 8th, Thor Love and Thunder. The poster is beautiful. Beautiful, this poster. The poster with Thor on it's beautiful too. But I am so here for Lady Jane that it's going to be great.
The Mjolnir, like right away when I first saw it, I'm like, that's got to be the one that Hela broke because it looks like it's in pieces.
Yeah. So I can't wait to see like the story behind that. And then Natalie Portman actually got jacked for this role too. Like,
good for her.
She got buff, and I am so excited.
I mean, she was fit when she played Padme. I mean, you see her when her shirt gets just properly cut off in just the right spots.
Oh, trust me, I know it. Don't I know? Teenage me, 13-year-old me was like, oof, girl, love of my life. And she's
so pretty and she's so smart.
She went to Harvard. She got a degree from Harvard. She's wicked smart. And
I know. I love it.
Yeah. So that's all I have for news. What do you got?
So I guess my news is a little bit outdated. The Thor 4 press tour has kicked off.
Surprise.
Love and Thunder is obviously July 8th. Surprise, motherfucker. Only Murders in the Building Season 2, June 28th.
Oh my God, yeah.
Max's Batgirl has wrapped filming. The Witcher Season 3 has begun filming. Cosmic Rewind will be open May 27th. This is the Guardians of the Galaxy ride that is coming to
but
Epcot.
You get to see it early.
Yes, updated piece of news. I got the annual pass holder tickets for May 9th. I had to sit on my phone for like an hour. So I was watching Moon Knight. My Disney emails go to my junk email. You know, we all have that. It's like my screen name from high schools at Yahoo. And so I deleted and unsubscribed from like every imaginable crappy thing that comes in there and then put notifications on my Yahoo because Disney wouldn't let me change my damn email. And, I still missed the notification and I'm watching Moon Knight and we pause Moon Knight and I look at my phone and I have like text from like 3 different people. The annual pass holder thing's up. So then I'm on there with other friends and we're all like, we're talking on our watches so that we don't mess up our phone because we don't want to touch the phone because you can't leave there while you're in the damn waiting room. So I waited 49 minutes and I finally got the first day at 10:30. So I should be one of the first people on the annual pass holder one. Now the cast members are already in there. So there are already people who have been in there. So I'm going to get there first thing. I will take a bunch of footage. I will do as much as I can. And I will give spoiler warnings for anybody who doesn't want to know about it because they're going soon or will go one day. So I'm very excited because living in Florida, we only have the Marvel stuff at Universal, and that's only comic books. So we don't have anything MCU here at all. We had a meet and greet with Star-Lord and Groot for a little bit, which was adorable. And there was a like secret magic show with Doctor Strange for like 5 minutes that they wouldn't even put on the thing. You just heard through the grapevine and then it disappeared. And it was only like during the day. So it's like I couldn't, like, unless I had the kids skip school, which I should have, like we couldn't see it. And then when you asked, like some cast members didn't even know about it.
Oh, I just, I feel like we made the big time here because I mean, by we, I mean you, but at the same time, it's like, that's big. You get to go on this dope ass ride before everyone else.
Disney is also notorious for things breaking down. So you never know, but
look, yes, what a story that could be. Okay.
That's my cosmic rewind. You know, Kaylee still hasn't done Rise of the Resistance because it gets broken down so much and it's always so long. A couple other pieces of news. The composer from Supernatural will actually be doing the Winchesters prequel, so you'll get more of that great spooky music. This fall will be the 13th Doctor's final adventure. And then
we still don't know who's going to replace, right?
Nope, no clue. And I feel like sometimes we know and sometimes we don't.
That's
or maybe
true.
I'm wrong and just
no.
Don't remember.
I feel like they always announce it early, but that could just be me.
Okay. So Dead Boy Detective series is coming to HBO Max. Remember the Dead Boy Detectives from Doom Patrol?
Yeah. Wow,
so
there's a series?
It's coming to HBO Max. So they're doing a spinoff from Doom Patrol. And I didn't know. I had looked it up because somebody from Supernatural actually shared it, and she's in Doom Patrol because a bunch of those people cross worlds because it's the same creator, or the creator of Doom Patrol, the TV show, worked on Supernatural. And so I was like, well, is this what I think it is? And I Googled it, and it's actually a Neil Gaiman comic, which I did not know that.
Huh. Well, it's slightly frustrating that we can get a spinoff of these two dudes, but we can't get like a Superman or, speaking of Ezra Miller, he has assaulted yet another woman. So that's like 3 arrests in the last month that he's done. So he's probably out as the Flash. So God forbid we get any sort of proper superhero, but DC's just like, you know what? We'll just give anybody, that this sounds good. Green light this. That perfect.
Such a shame too, to be given such a great opportunity. Who knows what's going on in his head?
I don't know, but hopefully they get the help that they need. So yeah, it just, one day.
I'm sorry. I mean, I'm looking forward to that movie. It's going to have Michael Keaton and whatnot.
We might not get it at this point. They might just scrap it and then who knows I don't know. I can't do this.
Maybe he'll be, we'll see, like when you have the success, I say like maybe he'll be an RDJ success story in the future, but RDJ I don't think was mean to people. I think he just had a bad drug problem.
Yeah, that's what he had.
Ezra Miller is just a bad drunk.
Yeah, well, just a bad person in general. Just
I mean, if you're a bad drunk, you're probably hiding that you're a bad person. But it sounds like he gets trashed. Oh no, okay. I don't think I'm using the right pronouns.
Yeah, they go by they. So
okay,
you're good. Don't worry.
All right, so let's move on.
Do you want to talk about some main topic?
Badass character.
Yeah,
yes.
So
I'm excited about this one.
Me too. So we're going to talk about America Chavez. We will be back in just a moment. So, like I said, we're talking about America Chavez and Doctor Strange, a little movie called The Multiverse of Madness, is about to release next week, actually, May 6th, May 5th, technically, but they say May 6th because who knows anymore. And so she's Miss America, and she's actually, her first appearance was in the Vengeance comic in 2011. She was part of the Teen Brigade. She was created by Joe Casey and Nick Dragotta. And then she is also in Marvel Rising, the animated show on Disney XD. America is a Puerto Rican American who is bilingual in English, Spanish, and then she's also lesbian.
So she got her first run in 2017 called America, and this was written by Gavi Riviere with Joe Quesada as the artist. I always say his name wrong, but he's everywhere.
Quesada?
Yeah, he was even in Jay and Silent Bob, right? Wasn't he like the pizza delivery guy?
Yes.
I love that. That's awesome. So America Chavez is from another reality. So Doctor Strange is a perfect movie to introduce her. She can actually punch star-shaped portals into the multiverse. She's also ridiculously strong and durable as well. And she flies super fast. So she's very, very powerful. And she also has a power stomp, which is where she can stomp her foot and create an energized shockwave.
Ooh.
So, and she can also time travel, but she needs some kind of focusing stimulus to do so, almost like a cosmic treadmill, maybe, to spin her back, you know?
Yeah.
Okay. So she also has a bit of interdimensional spidey sense. She can sense trouble across universes and uses this sense to guide her there. And I'm thinking that this might be in the movie. I would guess that she ends up finding Doctor Strange and not the other way around. Because if she can sense something's wrong, maybe she can come running. But I love how freaking powerful she is. Because I'm not going to lie, I knew nothing about her before I started looking into her. And of course, I first pulled out my Marvel encyclopedia and whatnot, and she's not in there because she's fairly new. And like my daughter has one of her toys, but I think my mom just bought it for her because it said Marvel, and she's never even watched Marvel Rising. So that's what I just posted on Twitter. So I'm very excited for this. So why don't you tell us a little bit more about her?
So I definitely agree. I think that the way it's looking is that Wanda's going to somehow get into the multiverse or something with her kids, right? We know her kids are still involved, and America Chavez can, punch, she can pretty much punch through the multiverse and travel and all that good stuff. So I think she's going to be on the run from either Wanda or somebody, and that's how Doctor Strange finds her, or she finds him. And then I think from there, Wanda, if she isn't already searching for her or knows about her, is going to go after her to use her to find her kids or something like that. So that's my theory. In the comics, she does in fact multiverse travel. So now there's multiple ways that you can travel the multiverse within the MCU. So things are about to get a little crazy, perhaps. So you got the TVA, America Chavez, Doctor Strange, the Watcher. So will Peter Parker's study string theory kind of be true? Do they all know it to be true? Are there any others out there that we're going to see? Or, is this how the X-Men comes in? Who knows? It's all pretty exciting. We are blessed as nerds right now. And
oh my goodness, yes.
God, originally she was actually believed to be from a Wonder Woman type place full of beautiful women with powers, where she was a princess who had two moms. But really, she has a sad, sad past. She's from the Bronx, which is pretty far off from the Marvel equivalent of Themyscira, if you ask me. But she has a genetic disease called Edge's syndrome. It's a disease that causes degeneration and eventually death. Her sister, Catalina, also had this disease, but wasn't showing any symptoms. Their moms were scientists and decided to do some experimental treatments on them, as well as on other girls that were impacted by this disease. And in good old comic book fashion, it goes bad because Mr. Gales, the guy who was in charge of the experiments, was actually a bad guy. Surprise, surprise.
What? Surprise, motherfucker.
Exactly. Gales was exposing them to interdimensional magic from a cosmic force called the Demiurge. Their moms died saving them all while America was only 5. This was the origin of her creating the fake reality after her mothers had passed, and she managed to escape Gales by creating a portal. But her sister, however, was not so lucky, and America was then adopted and raised by the Santanas.
So the sacrifice of her mothers is actually what encourages her to be a superhero. And one of the interesting thing about that, so I looked up Edge's syndrome, and I don't think it's a real thing. I think they made it up. If it is a real thing, let me know. But when I looked it up, some other syndrome ended up coming up, but it apparently only affects people with double X chromosomes.
Interesting.
So this place that she was referring to as the Demiurge has a ton of origin alone, complete with elder gods and like Wiccans part of the story. And if we see this come into play more so, we can go more into it in the future. But as far as America Chavez, now this just looks like an illusion that she created to suppress what actually happened. So the Demiurge exists outside the multiverse. Some still think this was an actual origin and it was changed just for the MCU because they pretended like the one was the real origin story, and then later in future comics they were like, nope, this is actually what happened, she was just suppressing that. So we don't actually know. So she kind of has two origins, but also not really. And you know how comic books go too, where you get two realities.
Every once in a while they just scrap the old origin to give them new origin, just to make things fresh and exciting. So
But they don't warn you of that in the MCU like they do in DC, where they're like, this is the Rebirth comic. In the MCU or in the Marvel universe, it's just like, surprise, motherfucker.
They're back. And this time, this is what you thought you knew, and this is what's actually happening now. Ha ha.
Right.
But good news, she reunites with her sister, but her sister
Bad news.
is not a good guy. So maybe that's not good news after all. In recent comics, we see more teleporting and less multiverse jumping. Really, she can go wherever she wants. However, sometimes she gets lost. But you know what? We're all lost, aren't we? We're just trying to find ourselves, man. So America is a bit of a loner. She's not always a team player. And I'm guessing, like I'm sure you are, that we're going to kind of see some of that in the MCU. But she does, in fact, actually join a lot of teams despite being a loner. So why don't you take us away with one of the teams that she actually joins?
So one of the teams she joins that I'm very excited that she has joined is Young Avengers. So in the comics, she's teamed up with Kate Bishop, Kid Loki, and Wiccan. So the Young Avengers really are getting built up in the MCU. She teams up with a lot of other ones, but those ones obviously stand out because we've been introduced to them in the past year and a half on Disney Plus shows alone. Her best friend is actually Kate Bishop. She's also been part of the West Coast Avengers, the Ultimates, the Teen Brigades, which is where she first appeared, and the A-Force, which was an all-women Avengers team. Ooh. And we've seen her with many familiar faces in the comics. I didn't realize she had gotten around. Well, that doesn't sound right. I didn't realize she had been. That doesn't sound right either.
She's a part of a lot of teams, okay?
She's a part of a lot of teams with a lot of people that we know. Captain Marvel, Monica Rambeau, War Machine, Thanos, and many others. At one point, though, she took a break from superheroing and went to the Sotomayor Interdimensional University. So I'm assuming this is a nice little nod to Sonia Sotomayor. I would assume the Supreme Court Justice.
I'm assuming so, yeah.
That'd be a weird coincidence if it wasn't. Many fans have described Miss America as she's beauty, she's grace, she'll punch you in the face, end quote. I thought that was cute.
I like that.
Of course, whenever I hear the beginning of that quote, I think of Miss Congeniality because,
that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. So you want to start us with the first few fun facts?
Yeah. So fun fact number 1, she actually once threw a shark during Secret Wars. No, that's actually
poor shark.
That poor shark. What, Sharknado, anybody? Think of the sharks. PETA probably wasn't happy about this.
Just side thing real quick here. Even in the cartoon, they're making fun of Deep for caring about the ocean. And I feel like Melissa Joan Hart and Can't Hardly Wait. Like, these are precious memories, people, frozen in time. These are precious animals in the ocean, and our survival is dependent on theirs, people.
Oh, it's true. Oh, okay. So I actually, I have a confession to make real quick. I last week went to a restaurant bar type thing, and they were doing turtle races. It's I felt like an ultimate degenerate. You go get a card, you can free, you don't put money on these turtles. However, you win a free beer if your turtle wins. And they lift up this bucket and the turtles scatter off this platform. They have different games that they play, like who gets to the platform first, whoever gets there second. Like, I'm not going to lie. I felt like the ultimate degenerate. And that's this throwing the shark fun fact actually brought back some of those memories from last week. So I'm sorry, turtles. I feel bad.
My dad went to a crab race recently.
Ah, okay. So I don't feel so bad anymore, but still felt wrong. It just felt weird and wrong. And like someone's going to break it up and Captain America's going to punch me in the face. But here I am. Anyways.
Did you have turtle soup after?
No, I did not.
Did you maybe just give them some pizza?
That's fair. That's fair. I did not see any rats, so that's a shame. So America actually seems to have a bit of a temper. She actually threw a chair at Captain Marvel because she disagreed with her in Civil War. And she once kicked Ultimate Nullifier in the crotch for temporarily stealing her powers. And then she left the Teen Brigade due to musical differences. So she's got a little bit of attitude. You know what? She's a teenager. She's going through things, okay?
I need to look more into this musical differences thing.
Yeah, I do too. What do you got from us? Take it away.
Oh, okay. So she's the first Marvel leader to also be a queer person of color. At one point, War Machine died in a battle alongside her, and she took it really, really hard. So I'm wondering if eventually we will see any relationship between the two of them. That would be interesting.
Oh, I thought you were going to say, I wonder if we're going to see him die. And I was like, please, we just lost Tony Stark. Let's not kill off all of our Iron Men.
All of our Iron Men. I mean, they can't kill off all of them, but I think we'll start seeing the older ones less and less.
Oh,
which,
yeah,
I mean,
agreed.
makes sense. But they really shouldn't kill all of them because just for sheer wisdom. And like, you know, Rhodey is an intelligent dude. Like he's not just, you know, a guy in a suit. Like he's smart. And we even saw, I thought one of the good things in Iron Man 3 is seeing his actual skills that aren't in the suit.
Exactly.
And, you know, it'd be nice to see, I mean, obviously not a relationship like that. For one, she's a lesbian, and for two, she's young and Rhodey is not. So I don't want to see that.
No,
but
I
like,
got what you were saying.
Just more of these mentor-protege relationships, like what we had with Stark and Tony. I would like to see more of those with the passing of the torch, because if we want this universe to continue, like torches need to be passed.
Oh yeah, without a doubt.
Okay, so she is a badass, but has a huge heart, and she actually has a really good moral compass. At one point, she helps Galactus, but only when he's good, not when he's like a world destroyer or eater of worlds or whatever he was.
I'll be honest, I didn't see her. I'll take it from here in the notes because that explains a lot now. My bad.
No, that's fine because because usually we can see each other when we point to each other, like you go, I'll go, so we can't.
The
point
nonverbals
to each other
are not
today.
there, folks.
So I'll finish this and then you can wrap it up.
All right.
So she is not the only comic book Miss America, and this is a direct quote straight from CBR.com. So America Chavez shares the title of Miss America with many other female comic book superheroes. The very first Miss America was Joan Dale, created by the company Quality Comics in the early 40s. Then Timely Comics, which we know as Marvel, published an issue of Marvel Mystery Comics in 1943, which featured Madeline Joyce, a character who would become Miss America. In the 50s, Quality Comics gave their Miss America to DC Comics after they were bought. So you got Miss Americas in both. Who knew?
Interesting.
Besides the Golden Age versions of Miss America and America Chavez, there are also other modern-day versions of Miss America. One of them includes Wonder Woman, who took the moniker of Miss America for a short time in the comic Wonder Woman Volume 2, specifically in issues 184 to 185. Shortly before America Chavez's solo comic was announced, her creators revealed that a similar character named America Vasquez would be having her own solo series published by Image Comics in 2017. So there you go.
Interesting. How long until you think we see a Young Avengers movie or a show?
Oh, that's true. It could be a show. I think it'll be a little bit, but I wouldn't be surprised if we get an announcement the next time Kevin Feige releases like the next 7 movie titles.
Oh, like Phase 5?
I would bet that Young Avengers will be in that.
Oh, I definitely agree.
It might be the end. Like it could be the big one, like because he said, "Oh, we're not going to get any more Avengers movies," but he didn't say we weren't going to get any Young Avengers movies.
Well, I mean, we got Miss Marvel, we got Kate Bishop, we got Yelena, and then we're about to have America Chavez. So I think
I didn't even think of Yelena as a Young Avenger.
So now you've got 4 people right here, 4 badass women who could very much, maybe in a show they put them together, and that's the start of the Young Avengers or something along that nature, and which would be really cool to see that, like, if they were to ever bring Ultron back, have them face off against Ultron, because the Ultron kills, the Avengers, and their kids end up taking up their mantles and defeat Ultron. So that would be a kind of a cool storyline to introduce him into. But what about,
Ultron was the ultimate villain in What If?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, who knows? So the multiverse is real now. It's a thing. So right. I'm very interested.
If that, we'll find out in this movie if that Doctor Strange is the Doctor Strange from What If.
Yeah, that's true.
And if it is, he did fight that Ultron. So maybe he needs to come in because maybe Ultron got into this universe because...
Ooh, the possibilities are endless.
They really are endless. I don't know how they're keeping this together. It's impressive.
It really is. It is. It's crazy. It's exciting. Do you think that Kid Loki's going to show back up then, since we're talking about Young Avengers?
I hope so. I think that kid was funny, and I would love to see him in a scene with Thor, because if anybody remembers from the show, it was they asked what was his what do you call it? Your variant activity?
Yeah.
I forget what the term was, but he's like, I killed Thor. They're like, whoa.
Yeah, I would love to see that too. Or I think we'll get some version of a Kid Loki, to be honest with you. I think we're going to see Kid everybody at this point, maybe.
Yeah. Well, and Kid Loki I think he had made a comment in one of the comics with America Chavez about how incredibly strong she was. And he was impressed with her strength of being able to throw something to the moon. So
right.
And he tried to convince her to kill, I think it was Wiccan.
Yeah.
And she was like, yeah, I'm not going to do that. And then she made it her mission to protect Wiccan.
Interesting.
So, yeah, I mean, we're getting to know all these characters. So
we got a lot of new faces showing up. A couple of things that I have to say about the film is I think that the sole purpose of Wanda in this is she's on the search for her kids. In the trailer, we see her kids. So I think she's going to find them. So I wonder.
Wait, we saw her kids in the trailer?
Yeah, there was one of the new trailers that came out. She was hugging both of the kids. And so
what?
I think that they're going to get pulled into our universe somehow. I don't think everything's going to be roses and peaches for Wanda at the end of this film, but maybe she finally starts getting some closure and the help she needs. And in relation to that, White Vision, like, what's going on there? Like, what's going on with White Vision? He just kind of took off, never to be seen again.
He flew off with a mission, it seemed like.
Yeah, he like went to go find himself or something, but like, dude, what are you doing? Where you at?
Eat, praying, and loving.
Like, what's happening right now? He's on his little siesta, sabbatical, or rumspringa.
Rumspringa? Well, and yeah, I mean, and it's obviously not Wanda's vision, ha ha ha. But if he got the Mind Stone back, like, because she still has some of the Mind Stone in her, and that's how she created her vision, right? So if she could put some of that Mind Stone into White Vision, this sounds dirty. Does he become her again or him again? And like, does he have any of the memories they shared together? Or is that like having to rebuild a relationship with somebody who has memory loss? Like,
yeah, it's a good question. I have no idea.
That relationship always kind of was just like, this is interesting.
Yeah. So
Tony, lost another killer bot.
Do you think Doctor Strange remembers Peter Parker, or is it just like, hey, I did this for Spider-Man. I don't know who he is. But because clearly they reference what happened.
Yeah, I don't know. What do you think?
I don't think he remembers Peter Parker, but I definitely think he obviously knows who Spider-Man is and that he did this for Spider-Man, but he doesn't know who he is.
That's what that makes sense. Like he knows everything except who, like, he knows that he erased Peter Parker's identity, but he doesn't know who Peter Parker is.
Yeah, exactly. So I will be curious to see if eventually they kind of redact that, in the comics, Doctor Strange kind of remembers and then everybody kind of remembers again, or maybe just Doctor Strange, or how that will play out. But I don't think he knows who Peter Parker is. No, I just know that, hey, I did the spell. It's my fault, blah, blah, blah.
Yeah. But yeah, what we were talking about before, though, with like the other Peter Parkers, they had to have gone back to their universes remembering, right? Because they're not going to forget who they are. I assume that spell was only applicable to 616.
Yeah, I feel like that spell is only applicable to everybody not named Peter Parker.
So when you're going back home and you have all this information that multiverses exist, like, you're not just going to like go to sleep on that and be like, oh, okay. Like, if you're, and these are
I definitely agree. So I'm very curious.
Right. Are we going to see them again? And you haven't seen Morbius yet either, right?
I know what happens. Yes. Let's.
I feel like I just need to Google what happens because I haven't seen it yet either. Because I know that there's some multiverse stuff going on.
There's
on in there,
some confusing ass stuff that's going on in the end credits of Morbius that I nobody knows, including Sony, what exactly is happening. So, but I will tell you,
just release the Spider-Man universe.
I don't
Disney,
know what's
please,
happening. I wish I did. I really do. So, well, that's kind of all we have for our Doctor Strange, America Chavez kind of deep dive. Let's get on to some letters to the editor. It's been a while since we've been able to do this, and we have some really, really good questions.
We do.
So, Kevin from Hops and Heroes asked, what style of beer would you pair with each of the following characters? We have Groot.
Should we go character by character?
Yeah. So first up, we have Groot. For me, I think that's an easy no-brainer. It'd be a nut brown because he's a tree. And so, like, there you go.
So I said bourbon barrel aged pastry stout made with Skittles. Now, James Gunn has said that Baby Groot was not eating Skittles and that it was space candy, but they look a little like Skittles.
That's fair.
So
maybe they just didn't have the rights to Skittles.
But it's got to be barrel aged, and bourbon barrel aged is my favorite. So it's got to be the barrel aged for the wood. But, inside, though, Groot is still very sweet and made with candy.
I like yours way better. I just had a nut brown.
But he can also become really strong and just straight up murder people with his branches. So, like, out of nowhere, he will kick your ass, much like a bourbon barrel-aged pastry stout.
That's fair. So the next one is Thanos. And for this one, I actually put I was thinking a bourbon barrel stout for that reason, because they kind of sneak up on you and just beat the life out of you.
So I said hazy IPA. I feel like, and again, I'm making fun of myself because those are my favorite. Thanos is a bit like a haze boy, and I went more with the comic book Thanos because he's trying to impress Death with his knowledge of the IPA origin story. And he just comes across douchey, and Death is not impressed.
Well, I just feel like he's talking about, ingredients and things like that. So he'd be one to just throw whatever in a bourbon barrel stout and be like, yeah, I can drink 14 of these bad boys while sitting on my farm.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, but you got to go Imperial Stout because some stouts,
that's actually true
Guinness,
too.
is only 4%.
That's actually a good point. Very good point.
But that might actually be a good description too, where you think he's badass, but he's only 4%. And he's not
just
as strong
drinking
as
light ass beers. He's drinking Miller Lights.
Right. Well, yeah, just go for the head. It's not hard to take off his head. You just got to know how to defeat him. You think he's drinking high ABV beers, but it's a Guinness. And don't knock Guinness though, because Guinness is amazing, but it's 4%.
Huh. Good
unless
point.
It's extra foreign stout.
What do you have for Moon Knight?
So Moon Knight, I did a wheat beer. And while wheat beers are associated with Bavaria or Germany, ancient Egyptians were believed to mix wheat and barley and then heat it up to ferment and then add flavors such as spices or fruit. So I had to go with something Egyptian. And also with wheat beers, you can do so many different things with them. So you never know what personality profile you might get.
Oh, see, I was about to break it down. I said Steven is definitely drinking like a lager because he's...
Oh, you did? Oh.
I think he's drinking a lager. Mark is definitely, to me, Mark is drinking like a wheat beer. I can see him drinking that or like a Pilsner or something like that. And then Jake is absolutely drinking like a barley wine just because nobody likes barley wines and they're very heavy, very strong, and will also kick your ass. And so I kind of went with a barley wine for him. But I could just picture Steven and Mark kind of drinking something on the lighter side while Jake goes hard.
Yeah. No, that makes sense. It's interesting, though, in the show that we're getting this Stephen Grant that is essentially not wealthy by any means. And yet comic book Stephen Grant has been compared to like Bruce Wayne. I'm
curious to see if we're going to get that at some point or maybe not. Who knows?
I feel like it's so inconsistent with the personality they've created.
Yeah, that's also fair. Well, I mean, maybe he gets rich somehow off of finding Alexander the Great. You never know.
Well, and I was watching one of the videos. I don't remember which one it was. It might be the one that always says, "There's your mom." I don't understand why he says that. If anybody does, please explain it to me because I've tried. Like, why does he randomly say that? But he said that the personality of Stephen Grant, he believes, was created to distance himself from, like, he moved away from his wife because he had this secret, and he created this personality that loves all the things that she loves.
Right.
So I thought that was very interesting. Okay. So Aquaman. I felt like this one was easy. Brad from Common Law, if you listened to our episode with him where we went and broke down a little bit of these characters, he did Aquaman. Well, and that was a curry lime goza, and obviously goza for delicious. Saltwater, and curry for Arthur Curry.
Yeah, that's what I put too. Obviously, just thinking the beer that we did with Common Law. So that one's easy. And then this next one, how do you pronounce his name?
No clue. Mr. Mazipitikalk.
MX.
Go ahead.
MXYZPTLK. Well, bottom line is we both chose a fruited smoothie sour because none of us know how to pronounce that name. And with the sours these days, they're just tossing all sorts of ingredients in there. And at least that's my description. What'd you put?
I did look him up. And so and I responded to Kevin with, I don't even know who this guy is. I had to Google him. And he said he wanted to throw like one oddball one out there. So he's sometimes called MXY, Mixie maybe. It's a character who appears in DC Comics, in the Superman comics. He's usually presented as a trickster deity in the classical mythological sense. So I guess like Loki. Mizapotelic possesses reality warping powers with which he enjoys tormenting Superman or making life difficult.
Well,
so yeah.
Okay.
I chose a fruited smoothie sour because they sometimes explode in your car on the way home, making life difficult.
That's cool. All right. Well, our last one is the Penguin. I'm going to be honest. I chose a New England IPA because he definitely has the personality of somebody who just drinks and thinks like hazy New England IPAs are something that's all sorts of
perfection.
Yeah, exactly.
You just call me the Penguin. I'm Oswald Cobblepot.
Interesting.
So I picked a Baltic porter because it's cold fermented yet dark. And it came about near the Baltic Sea. But porters are named porters after the working class. Penguin was cast aside by his rich family and pretends to be for the people or the working class. And it's a lager, but it can be higher in ABV, higher than you may expect, but not always.
Huh. Interesting. Good questions, Kevin. So he might actually do some fun poses with some of the beers here. So go ahead and follow Hops and Heroes. That's HOPSN Heroes, HEROES on Instagram. He's a great dude. Kevin's amazing. We've had him on the show in the past. So
and he'll be on one of our Star Wars ones.
Yeah, exactly. That's all we got for that. So next one, Stacy has asked us if we could remake any Marvel movie in 2022, what would it be? Who would you cast? Look, you can keep the same damn cast. Just redo Iron Man 3, please.
Oh, see, I started to say Fantastic Four, and then when I started to fill out characters, I just stopped and like erased them because I couldn't think of a good cast. I feel like Mr. Fantastic would be great for John Krasinski, but then I couldn't think of anybody else. And then I kept thinking of people that I felt like were almost too old to take it over now.
Oh, yeah, that's fair.
And then I actually really liked Michael B. Jordan. I think he would be good as Torch if he got another chance, but he's Killmonger. And even though Cottonmouth is now going to be Blade, I'm still not okay with that.
Oh, get over that. That's such a small thing. Come on.
But they do that right as they're actually introducing Netflix characters into the MCU properly.
I mean, so far we only know Daredevil, so we don't know about the rest.
Kingpin.
Okay, that's what I meant by Daredevil, like Daredevil and crew.
Okay, Daredevil the show. Okay.
Look,
but Cotton, I mean, they're all, but clearly the Netflix shows are
he's a shitty villain.
mixed.
They did him so wrong. So at least we're finally getting him justified because he's a really good actor.
All right, so I'm going to stick with Fantastic Four, but I'm only casting John Krasinski.
All right.
I then wanted to say Jenna Fisher because I love the chemistry between the two of them.
That's fair. I'm going Iron Man 3 just because we need to redo that movie. It is awful. And if that's going to be your final solo Iron Man film, you got to do it way better, man. You really do.
I mean, if I had to redo a Marvel movie, it'd probably be Iron Man 2.
Well, that was the question. What Marvel movie would you remake?
No, I meant MCU versus Marvel. I meant MCU versus Marvel.
I was like, wait, that's the question. What are you talking about? All right, fine.
Because I actually asked her, like, do you mean just MCU or Marvel? And she says you can take it however you like. But yeah, if I had to stick to MCU, it would be Iron Man 2. And I wouldn't change everything. I would just fix a few things, like that fucking awkward scene at the top. Maybe recast Pepper Potts.
Yeah, I mean, please do. Please get rid of the Mandarin. Just don't even do the Mandarin. Just do AIM, okay? Just do
but then
AIM.
we don't get Kevin Slattery and Shang-Chi.
That's fine. He didn't do anything.
Trevor Slattery. Did I say Kevin Slattery? Trevor Slattery.
Yeah, I knew what you meant, but you saved yourself from being on the list.
Dun, dun, dun. Because we were just talking about Kevin.
Yeah, just do AIM then. You can still introduce him somehow. Just do AIM. Just don't do the Mandarin. Anyways.
Yeah, I don't know.
Last question from Chris from the Geek Peak Pod. Shout out to my boy Chris. Who would win in a 3-way fight? The Transporter, John Wick, or Peacemaker? Now, first things first, I love John Wick. So obviously my boy Keanu Reeves is going to handle some business. And it's going to be, they're taking out the Transporter first. Like, no offense to Jason Statham. However, he's getting his ass beat. Transporter's done first. And then it's going to come down to a bloody, absolute, brutal fight between John Cena and Keanu Reeves. And
Keanu Reeves has no fucks to give as John Wick.
And he takes some brutal hits, and I think he could take down Peacemaker. I really do. Like, I love my boy Peacemaker, but in a fight to the death, I feel like John Wick is just a little more brutal, and it would definitely just beat his ass. Like, it would be an intense fight, but in the end, John Cena is going to get stabbed and die.
And no one will. Well, I was going to say no one will see him coming, but that's the wrong character.
Yeah, no, that's Quicksilver.
No, I agree. I think
about?
it's John Wick. No, because Peacemaker, John Cena, you can't see him.
Yeah, that's fair.
But yeah, I agree, John Wick. But extra shout out to Chris from the Geek Peak. We are still doing the Dexter episodes. We released a very long one recently that recapped 3 episodes. And when you said Kenobi, so the guy who plays Neil Perry in Dexter season 1, who pretends to be the ice truck killer, he voices Kenobi in Clone Wars and Rebels. So we've started like referring to him as like Kenobi when we're recapping the episodes. So yeah, the little Kenobi. When I was watching Dexter earlier, because we're about to do the last 2 episodes, and just Dokes with a surprise, motherfucker.
That's
it's
true.
So good. So good.
It's so good.
Both are such fun
I haven't
things
actually watched the newest episode yet, or the newest season of the show, but I've watched. He. Well, to be fair, I've watched the first episode. I just haven't watched past that yet, so I'll get to it.
Enjoyed it. Still didn't love the ending, but I enjoyed it. But it's hard. I have to like bite my tongue at times when we're recording, because one, we're trying not to overly spoil. So if you've never seen it and you want to watch along as you listen, you can do that. But there are things he's said, and I'm like biting my tongue because I want to be like, well, in episode 6 of the new season, they talk about that.
That's pretty cool.
I love Dexter so much.
I mean, I do too. I definitely do too. Dang, real quick, I'm going to miss a Shade City Brew Fest in Boise this weekend. And I have like a giant stack of the can toppers, to hold your 4-packs and 6-packs. And if you bring any in, you get an extra pour. So if you're there, or that obviously this is going to air after, but dang, I'm kind of sad I'm missing out on that. But
that's fun.
Chris,
are they going to recycle them?
Yeah, they're going to recycle them to breweries and stuff. But Chris, Stacy, Kevin, your questions. Thank you. Really, really appreciate you, hitting us up with those. I know Stacy has some good ones for Star Wars month. That's going to kick off next week. We're going to kick it off with the prequel trilogy. So get your questions in and buckle up, because we are absolutely about to go to town on some Star Wars. Lauren has been converted. I have been dying to talk strictly Star Wars for like a whole month. We're going to have really good guests coming on. And I'm really excited. I'm glad this episode recorded. Now let's hope it actually edits and gets put up in time. But that's the next phase of things. But so far, so good. I will be back home next week. Things are going to get back to normal again, hopefully. And in the meantime, just continue to please support us. Go ahead, buy some merch. Go ahead, follow us. Share our good stuff. Go ahead, follow some other really good podcasts that we've been working with, like Sean from Metalcore Nerds, Chris from Geek Peak, Lance at Comic Book Keepers, all those good guys out there. And then follow our escapades on TikTok and all the breweries we've been hitting up. Lots of good stuff, man. Lauren, do you have any final thoughts?
No, I think you summed them all up. Wait, one final thought. Kenobi! It's just fun to say. It's like Francisco.
It really is. Let's get one final Kenobi as you take us out.
Kenobi!
Cheers.
This has been a Hops News production. You can find Hops News on all your favorite podcasts and social media platforms at Hops News. Cheers.